Concentration, the easiest, laziest gold making in World of Warcraft. This video is focused on tailoring concentration in Midnight. We'll be breaking down how to get the most out of concentration, which knowledge specializations to run, both ultra budget setups and established builds, and the key recipes worth targeting to make the most gold. Tailoring honestly was pretty rough in the War Within from the perspective of concentration, but there are things that perhaps are worth looking at here. I think it's more relevant than ever to show budget and basic concentration builds, especially at the start of an expansion when materials and setup costs are high. I'm hoping these concentration guides will help everyone, whatever your budget. Don't go wasting concentration or large amount of gold on Patreon orders for concentration characters to get more knowledge. It's simply not worth it. These characters are about making gold, not min-maxing knowledge points. I won't be covering how to set up tailoring from scratch in this video. That's already covered quite extensively in my main profession guide, which is linked below. I'll assume you've collected your profession treasures and picked up your first time craft bonuses only. For profession gear on a concentration character early expansion, I really do not feel like it's worth going crazy. I'll assume rank 5 uncommon profession gear with no enchants. Basic setup, 25 to 30 profession skill, 30 points in creative efficiency for the multi-craft perks, 14.9% multi-craft on imbued bright linen bolts. These are not a good concentration setup. You can make some gold from your concentration here. These will take a while for anybody to be able to craft at rank 2 at the start of the expansion, but it's not great. You're not going to set up a tailoring character just for this. A quick word on Sunfire and Arcanweave bolts. In War Within, these bolts did not do well. I have so much more hope for them in Midnight, simply because they're used in so much more stuff, so more potential for higher prices and better concentration. You could also potentially unlock Sunfire Silk or Arcanweave bolt crafting at 25 profession skill instead. It all depends on how you intend to level to push to 50 tailoring skill. If you're taking it slow and want to profit on the way, then if you unlock Sunfire Silk or Arcanweave bolts first, then you can use these with your concentration over time to slowly level you towards 50 skill. These won't quite get you to 50 skill, but they'll get you close and at a profit rather than a loss. So if you want a super budget tailoring build, 25 tailoring skill, unlock bolt cooldowns and using concentration on them until you get to nearly 50 skill at a profit over time. I assume a lot of you will just level straight up to 50 skill and that you will make more gold at 50 skill, but obviously it's going to cost you more gold to get there. Either way, you can unlock both of these that we've talked about so far in the knowledge tree when you get to 50 profession skill. So we pushed to 50 profession skill, skipped crafting the bags as they are expensive at the start of an expansion, and we skipped the cosmetic cloaks at rank 50 as well. Any extra points push towards 30 points in Fashion Genius. So let's look at the embellishments. Arcanweave lining, this is a dungeon boss drop, and Sunfire Silk lining drops in delves. These use massive amounts of concentration. They use so much concentration and not that many materials. You can produce 2 Sunfire Silk bolts from a single craft of Sunfire Silk bolts with concentration. It uses much less concentration than this. The recipe source does make these more valuable as concentration crafts because it makes them harder to get hold of, and for a while these could be good as it will take time until players can naturally produce these at rank 2, but after a point I can't see this being the best concentration. A quick word about the community gold making Discord, lots of free Midnight gold making guides on there, be great to see there, link in the description below. Spellthread healer version, Arcanweave spellthread, reputation and currency requirement here. So we have a bit more of a barrier to entry, requires some more effort to set up for sure. Materials is much better than with the embellishments. 8 Arcanweave bolts, 6 shards, 12 cloth, that's more like it. Demand here is a bit more limited as it's the healer version, but once again it's going to take a while until these can be naturally produced at rank 2. So at that point they can only be done with concentration and therefore the profit margins tend to be quite good. This could potentially do quite well, especially until they can be mass produced. Sunfire Silk spellthread. Oh my, I think this is probably the best early expansion tailoring concentration. DPS spellthread, huge demand, difficult to be mass produced for quite a while, like with the healer version. Everything is pretty much the same as the Arcanweave spellthread, except there's a lot more demand because it's DPS. But on top of that, we also have a recipe that drops from a raid. This makes it difficult for massive concentration characters to be set up with this. It also means it could potentially be expensive to get hold of as well. But at this point, I'm just giving you what I think are the best concentration crafts. And this is definitely looking like being the best tailoring concentration craft in Midnight. That doesn't mean you should go and spend a crazy amount of gold to get the recipe. but it will definitely be the most profitable recipe that you'll be able to craft with tailoring. Sunfire Arcanoid bolt crafting with concentration. I said earlier that there's going to be a lot more demand for these cooldown bolts this expansion, and I stand by that. The issue is that these can be unlocked stupidly easily. Just 5 knowledge points and 25 tailoring skill. I don't know, on one side I see the extra demand. On the other side I have a feeling we're going to see masses and masses of these bolt crafters in Midnight. Just my opinion, not necessarily a bad choice. All of those use the same knowledge setup, 30 points in creative efficiency for the multi-craft bonus. If you want to do Sunfire Silk and Arcanoid concentration bolt crafting, 5 points in nimble needlework. Any further points push into Fashion Genius unless you're doing bolt crafting and not just concentration, then push down here, as you just want more bolts, not just more concentration efficiency. Cooldown bolts are much more in demand this expansion, but you don't run a dedicated concentration build for that probably, more like a bolt crafting build instead. Spell threads being moved out of the knowledge tree gives them a much higher barrier to entry, so these have much more potential than they did in the War of Him. Anyway, if you found this video helpful, please leave it a like, and let me know in the comments below if you agree with what I've said, and are you setting up any tailoring concentration characters in Midnight.